Hi there, welcome to the program. I'm Bill Hitchcock. We have got yet another wonderful show to get to you. It's October 27th, Monday. What we are going to be doing today, we got a fishing report to get out to you, of course. It has been a bluefish blitz, literally. Tuna have shown up, king mackerel have shown up in great numbers, speckled trout as well. We got viewer catches to get out to you. We got a whole bunch of viewer catches to get out to you. And I'm talking about rigging and baits and conditions and locations. These guys, our viewers, this is just a session, just a seminar. It's fantastic. Our inlets that we're featuring today in the shifting inlet segment is Bogue, Browns, and New Inlet. And it's a friendly reminder, this is over 40 years satellite imagery of each one of these inlets. We're going up and down the coast of North Carolina, showing you how they shift. Sometimes they go away, sometimes they come up, sometimes they fill in, sometimes they don't. And of course, we've got weather information to get out to you. There is Hurricane Melissa. Will stay offshore of the East Coast. Praise the Lord, hallelujah, and amen. But we have an interesting situation coming up the coast Monday as I speak. There's a coastal low which will bring strong northeasterly winds today all the way through Wednesday. Tuesday will be the peak time period for it, just what we needed, right? More wind. It's going to be lots of it. So let's go on and take a look at the Satfish, the satellite fishing technology, folks, the wind and sea surface temperatures, conditions, and we'll go into the coastal weather report to see exactly what it's going to be like this week along the coast of North Carolina. It's time for the wind and sea conditions brought to us by Satfish, the satellite fishing technology folks. They supply us with this information both in real time and forecasted. So let's take a look. Unfortunately, we're going to start off with the wind. It's not going to be good. All right, this is Monday morning as when I am doing this. You can see the winds here at the Outer Banks around 15 knots here in Raleigh Bay. Whoa, about 26 knots. Okay. Down here in the Onslow Bay area, 20 knots, Cape Fear, 20 knots. But unfortunately, as we go into Tuesday, look what happens. Yep, we got us. Look down here in the bottom left-hand corner. There's that center of circulation, that low pressure system, which is scooting off the coast of North Carolina. The only good thing I can say is yesterday they were showing it over here. But look at these winds. There's 34, 35, 40 knot winds is once again going to pound the northern Outer Banks here in the Raleigh Bay area. They're saying 24, 25 knots. The Carteret County area, Crystal Coast area, is going to get more of a northerly wind, which protects that area. Is same thing with Cape Fear. Let's look at Wednesday. Is it going to abate on Wednesday? Wednesday, it does slow down. It's only down to 25 knots. Here you can see the circulation right here, right around the Big Rock area. But 26 knot winds out here. But look at that at the Big Rock. 7 knots here at the Crystal Coast area and the Onslow Bay area, about 20 knots. A little less in the Cape Fear area. Thursday, what's it going to look like? Wind shifts. It's now coming out of the south, but is not friendly winds. There's 13 knots in the northern Outer Banks here at Cape Point, around 18, 20 knots. Raleigh Bay, about 20 knots. It looks like the Cape Fear area is going to get kind of a westerly wind, around 16 knots. Carteret County area, around 15 knots. Friday, what's going to happen? Well, it shifts once again, which is typical, by the way, when a low pressure system or a hurricane, whatever, goes by, the wind does shift. But you can see that's a due west wind that we're talking about on Friday. Still, northern Outer Banks, 30 knot winds. It's just, they don't get any relief. Down here, Ocracoke, Portsmouth Island, same thing. Down here in the Onslow Bay area, it's about 20 knots. Down here in the Cape Fear area, around 16 knots. So it looks like all this coming week is going to go back to how it has been for a month or so. We got spoiled with the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of last week, this past week, with nice conditions, but it doesn't look like it's going to be very friendly wind-wise along the coast of North Carolina. Now let's take a look at the sea surface temperatures. This is the 3-day composite. Let me show you the raw imagery. Look at that. That's all purpley. The cloud cover is creating that. So that's why I'm going to the 3-day composite. Now let's zoom on in. And by the Gulf Stream might hit, there's 80 degrees, might hit 80 degrees. It has cooled down, but what has really cooled down a lot, look at the Albemarle Sound, 63 degrees. Just a week ago, it was 70, 71 degrees, and it's going to keep getting cooler. Off the shore here, it's 66, 67 degrees off of the northern Outer Banks, Oregon Inlet area. It stays pretty consistent. Now, do you see this little, let's zoom in just a little bit more. Do you see this warm spot here, man? It was right on top of Rodanthe 2-3 days ago, but it's moved on off. But as we move here, look here at the point of Cape Hatteras. It's that magical line. This side is cool waters, 68, 69 degrees. But once you go to the south side of the point, 72, 73 degrees. The Pamlico Sound is around 65 degrees. And look right out here at Hatteras Inlet and also Ocracoke Inlet. You can see that those waters coming on out. But this is, I'll pull back out, by far in the Raleigh Bay area between Cape Hatteras and Cape Lookout, that's where you got your warmest waters, and this is where we will find the warmest waters as we go on into the wintertime. Once again, the shoals are cooler. This is Cape Lookout. Let's just zoom on in here and just have a little bit of fun. Heading here at the Northeast Rocks, or the Knuckle Buoy, is around 70 degrees. Working on out here to the Hardy's Reef at 72 degrees. The 90-foot drop, 76 degrees. John Yancey, 79 degrees. And here in the Big Rock area, 79 degrees. Generally speaking, marlin like 80 degree plus. So say kind of bye-bye to the marlin billfish type activity. Doesn't mean it's gone completely. Now, once again, we've got that big buffer. It's a little bit bigger once we come off of the Shackford Banks area all the way down here to Cape Fear. We got that buffer of about 69 degrees in front of the beaches here to about 10 miles out. This is ideal king mackerel temperatures. The Spanish mackerel activity is going to start to wane, and you can see that same buffer is now continuing here all the way down to the South Carolina line. I would like to thank Satfish, the satellite fishing technology folks, for supplying us this information, both in real time and forecasted and 3-day composites, you name it, they got it. What I'm showing you is just a fraction of what they have to offer. So go to satfish.com, and see what they've got. Let's take a look at the forecasted weather conditions. This is brought to us by the National Weather Service and NOAA. Let's take a look. All right, these are the high temperatures. Again, as a friendly reminder, wherever you see the temperature, that's where they're specifically speaking. So that's offshore. That's in the Pamlico Sound. That's at the point of Hatteras. This is for Monday today. So high temperatures just underneath 70 degrees up and down the coast. Tomorrow, when it's blowing a gale, we've got 60s. We got mid 60s, maybe a little upper 60s up and down the coast. On Wednesday, our temperatures show pretty much the same thing, except it warms up a little bit more in the Raleigh Bay area, 70 degrees off the Crystal Coast, 68 degrees off of Cape Fear, 71 degrees. Thursday, what happens? It warms up. Now we got basically 70 degrees up and down the coast of North Carolina. But what happens on Friday? We go on, boom, it drops down about another 10 degrees for this coming Friday. All right, let's see what the chance of rain is now that it's going to be blowing a gale and not being too cold. The percent chance of rain for, let's see, move this on back here. For Monday, let's see, it looks like we got about a 30%, 20 to 30% chance of rain up and down the coast of North Carolina. On Tuesday, whoa, all right, they're talking 80, 90% chance of rain when we're getting the gale blowing all over us. On Wednesday, it does, the chance of rain does get a little bit better. We got 36. See if I can get that schmegly stuff off there. No, it's going to play hard to get. On Thursday, we got 40% chance of rain up in the northern Outer Banks, about 50 once we hit the Cape Lookout, head south. On Friday, what's the chance of rain? As it has cooled down, typically speaking, the cooler it gets, the less chance we have of precipitation. And sure enough, in the northern Outer Banks on Friday, we're looking at about a 30% chance of rain down the Crystal Coast area, about a 19% chance of rain, and even less chance of rain down there in Wilmington. All right, that's your forecasted rain chances and your high temperatures brought to us by the National Weather Service. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it just seems like the past couple of months has been the windiest, consistently windiest along the coast of North Carolina that I can remember, and just particularly the northern Outer Banks. They don't need some more 40 knot plus northeasterly winds whacking them. The shifting inlets, let's go on into that. The Bogue, Bear, Browns, and New Inlet, 40 years we're covering with satellite imagery. Let's see what happens to them. Alrighty, let's get on with the fishing report. Of course, we're going to, as we usually do, start up there in the northern Outer Banks in Nag's Head. The Nag's Head Pier says it's cold outside, but the fishing is on. Spot, 2 at a time, pompano, trout, and sea mullet. Jeanette's Pier, we don't have any pictures, but they say bluefish, speckled trout, and sea mullet. Ocean temperature around 66 degrees, which is consistent with what we just showed you off of the Satfish satellite imagery. Fishing frenzy, they said, we found this tree today that was holding a few nice mahi. Great surprise for the end of October. Now, I don't know where this tree was. If it was in Pamlico Sound, it wouldn't surprise me so much, but he was out in the ocean. And by the way, mahi love some kind of floating structure. They'll swim underneath it. That's one of the reasons why sargasso weed is so sought after, because they'll swim underneath that. Sargasso weed, when you find a weed line, also holds little shrimps and little turtles and little fish, and so all sorts of things like to hang out there. All right, Salty Waters OBX. They said real pretty trout fishing this morning with a solid class of fish and some big uns in the mix for Damien and son from Indiana. Rigged Up Charter says lots of tuna. Brad and his crew had a blast today. We had these working. Congratulations. All right, Wave Runner says lots of tuna. There we go again. Mr. Clayton and friends, thank you for your business. Great catch of tuna and a few dolphin. Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. Let's see what happens. Well, guess what? Sunday special, blackfin tuna and king mackerel. It's about to get breezy around here again, and we'll keep you posted. Yep, so will we. Tuna Fever said Alex brought the gang back down from Roanoke, and we went right back to the 650. Oh, glad just it occurred to me. Listen, this Tuna Fever gives us a very detailed report. He's giving us exactly where he was fishing. He says Alex brought the gang back down from Roanoke, and we went right back to the 615 first thing this morning. They moved up the beach a little bit around the 630. These are lat lines, by the way, but they are deeper today in 400 fathoms. Needless to say, excellent fishing for everybody. Thank you for that information. Hatteras, Avon Pier, Big Drum, go figure. That's been the story up in that neck of the woods for I don't know how long. A long time. But also, Big Bluefish, Frank and Franz out of Avon, North Carolina, says the fall run is on. The bite absolutely exploded across Avon today. This is yesterday with nonstop action. Kayla Potts and crew had their best day in over a decade. Ramp 32 was on fire, according to Mark Haywood, with blues hitting the beach back-to-back. David Mitchell and Pat Mims scored big chopper bluefish at Ramp 34 today. Jeremy stole the spotlight with a giant bluefish almost as big as him, plus a great haul of sea mullet. All right, spectacular Hatteras-like tackle fishing. Captain Rick Scarborough says just 2 days after being hit with that stingray barb, 2 days, I guess it's 3 days ago, is 2 days before this report, you know, the stingray barb, well, he got it right in the hand and it didn't look too pretty. Barb, I was able to take Rick Harrington out on an afternoon trip. He has been wanting to check bluefish off his bucket list on a fly rod for a long time, and I was happy to help him do it. The conditions were perfect and everything worked great, and he landed 2 nice bluefish. Rick doesn't keep many fish, but said he would like to catch a few sheep's head for dinner, and he did that also. I cut bait, and he caught the sheep's head. Congratulations. Frisco Rod and Gun, no picture, but they say the surf. Guess what? Bluefish, red drum, sea mullet, inshore, albacore, gray trout. This is the only gray trout I've heard about. Sea bass and sheep's head. Red drum bait and tackle in Buxton. They say Chandler from Culpeper, Virginia. He's 13 years old, caught this huge red drum. He loves red drum bait and tackle, saves all his allowance to spend when he visits Buxton. There you go. That's what I like to hear. Kevin and Bubba B with a 46-inch and 49-inch red drum. Done deal sport fishing. I said last day before the wind takes over the ocean. He's talking, he's reporting this yesterday on Sunday for a week or so. King mackerel, big king mackerel, white daughter sharks. Don't know what a white daughter shark is. Tell me if you guys know, let me know. And bluefish while live bait fishing today. Hatters Harbor Marina says it was very scrappy fishing for the offshore fleet today. The boats that live baited had luck with king mackerel and some blackfin tuna. Inshore boats, good catches of sheep's head, black drum, and a few tautog. The day before, 4-man bag limit on sheep's head, and look at all those sheep's head. Congratulations. Remember, it's in November, the Division of Marine Fisheries is putting out a public meeting comment because there's going to be some rule changes on the sheep's head. In the central coastal area, Cape Lookout, Bogue Banks, Beaufort Inlet, Barton Inlet area, Outcast Outdoors from Swansboro say top water was on fire to begin the morning and into the morning on fire between reeling in trout and stripers. Bounty Hunter Guide Service out of Beaufort, trout, drum, and flounder landed on a couple of schools of redfish and had a great morning with these gentlemen. Mark and the boys had a ball on gold spoons and chatterbaits. Cape Crusader Charters out of Atlantic Beach said good action on both trips today. The bluefish were fired up all day. All the topwater action you could stand this afternoon. For some reason, the bluefish have really been concentrated, and you're going to find out where else, but they've really been concentrated in the Atlantic Beach area, the Atlantic Beach Bridge. We've shown you plenty of footage of that, them around at nighttime in particular. But here in the viewer catches, you're about to see just at bluefish, just nuts. We'll show that to you here shortly. Chasing tails out of Atlantic Beach on the Atlantic Beach Causeway. So the 18th, oh yeah, this is great. Now that we can go speckled trout fish again. The 18th annual Speckled Trout Challenge has started. You can still sign up and fish. The event goes until February 26th. The reason why I get so excited about this is you bring in your, to Chasing Tails for this tournament, you bring in your speckled trout alive, they weigh it, and then it's released because Chasing Tails is on the water. They go out back and release your speckled trout alive. So congratulations to those folks. That's the kind of tournament I like to hear about. And they also said from the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, they said that's a wrap. Natural Dazed comes out on top with a 50.47 pound king in the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Fishing Tournament. Congratulations. Bill Collector, who doesn't like to talk much but likes to fish a lot and catch a lot, said tuna, dolphin, kings, and bill fish release. Real Priority Sport Fishing said quick 550 pounds today for the crew. I don't know how quick, but evidently maybe like a half day. I don't know. If you're looking to fill the freezer, now is the time. We have openings this week. Bogue Inlet Pier, everything's going on there. Black drum, bluefish, sea mullet, albacore, spots, and speckled trout have been the weekend catch. Heads up, evening and midnight fishing are topping the catches, especially for sea mullet. All right, so that you'll hear that a lot, by the way, the nighttime catches. If you can, go out and have some fun. Congratulations to Michael Davis from Elm City, North Carolina, with a 12-pound, 5-ounce black drum. Now, working in the southern coastal region of North Carolina, Von de Kay, I like the Von de Kay, out of Carolina Beach. So today's picks, thanks to all who came out with us. We had a king, trigger, big old black sea bass, white grunts, gray snapper, ringtails, and porgies. All right, Von de Kay. Surf City Ocean Pier said Mike Dupree caught a real nice mess of big mullets, sea mullets running a pound and a half, some close to 2 pounds. That's big. and it's also great eating. Nice size spots, which is also they're nice size and great eating. That's Johnny Mercer's Pier. It says Rick Dove put several species on the deck today, including a dozen plus Spanish mackerel with no pictures, but all those other pictures. Jocelyn Miguel catches a 6.21 pound black drum. Fish Witch Charters out of Carolina Beach. I love this picture. You got to have fun with it. That's what recreational fishing is all about. Look at the captain jumping up there. He said, today, Captain TJ ran a morning 6-hour trip catching their limit of kings and jacks. Great fishing guys. All right. The Oak Island Fishing Charters said only one day tossed us a curveball, but the rest of the week we got to tug on some big red drum near shore. Backwater is starting to produce a good numbers of speckled trout and black drum. Now, viewer catches. This is the biggest segment of them all. And I asked everybody, send me your information, take pictures of your baits, lures, tell us your tactics, locations, conditions, all that kind of stuff. And Harold Wilson, it just tickled me when I got this. Way to go, Harold. He says, here you go, Bill, because I asked for show me your baits and lures. He says, big bait for big fish. Actually, this is a 7/0 hook. I usually use a 9/0 and bigger mullet. No finger or cob mullet for me. I like big meat, as he says, and big hooks. Note, hook through skin twice. Thanks for your reports. No problem, Harold. Thank you. Lori and Joey of Wilson's of Bell. All right, they're from Wilson. They fished Bellhaven. Get that out, Bill. You can speak English. It says, Sunday I caught my trout limit in 5 minutes in one spot using my favorite Beer Run Z-Man 4-inch diesel minnow jig. I'm showing you a picture of it. Joey got 2 more with mirror lures. They didn't send any pictures, but I did show up the lure there. Chris Schramm said after a long week in striking out in the North Carolina Beach Buggy Association drum tournament up there in Hatteras, said my son and I, along with our friend Ferg, decided to give it one last chance. Got 3 citation reds from the surf. Ferg managed to get a 96-inch sand tiger as well. Chris Schramm, evidently he didn't have any problems releasing that sand tiger. Just be careful, folks, when you got you a shark. I don't care how big or small it is, they got teeth. Damon Richardson, with his 24-inch red drum, caught in Buzzard Bay area of Southport from a War Eagle boat, fishing with friends using a 4-inch Z-Man jerkbait Laguna shrimp color rig. There's that Z-Man again. On a Z-Man 1/4-ounce trout eye hook, total catch of the day was 2 reds, 3 flounders, 2 lizardfish, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah. I know where, if you're catching lizardfish, you're around flounder. There's a consolation for you. And somebody knows how to make lizardfish taste good, let me know. Evidently, some people know how to do it. I don't. Primo, he says, my son and I had the bay boat out about 3 miles out from New Topsail Inlet. Spot locked on grassy bottom. Gracie. Good night, Gracie. On grassy bottom at a depth of 45 feet and water temperature at 68.5 degrees. And that's, again, consistent with what the Satfish satellite imagery is showing us. Use some cheap 3/4-ounce tsunami candy jigs. I love the fish. Don't care if it's cheap or expensive. They just see a wet and wiggly and they go after it. 4-inch grubs on a 1/2-ounce jig head and gulp fiddler crabs on 1/2-ounce jig heads. Vertical jigged all aforementioned lures from the bottom up to about 10 feet off the bottom. Caught too many bass to count, with a few being keeper size, small blues, large croakers, several white grunt, with my teen son landing this biggest grunt at just over 15 inches. All right, Primo, thank you very much. Mark Williams of Wilmington, he said, caught these pompanos and whiting while fishing in the surf just north of the Ocean Isle Beach Pier on Thursday, 10/23. He caught 12 total in about 2 hours using shrimp on a bottom rig. Yay! Ryan Coleman coming to Beaufort from, we got some video to show you here. Ryan Coleman coming to Beaufort from Hatteras, fished Friday in Hatteras, caught a mahi and several strikes. Trolling was slow, so went bottom fishing, caught some hubcap triggerfish. Vermilion snapper, even a lionfish, and many other species. Today we headed back to Beaufort, and around Drum Inlet and Cape Lookout we came across a massive school of bluefish feeding. All good size, couldn't resist throwing a spoon at them. Ryan Coleman. No, when you see bluefish like that, There's other fish hanging around them, I can tell you that much, because they're hanging around smaller fish. That makes sense. All right, Scott Fallen out of Sneed's Ferry says, we were targeting the kings that are starting to move in closer to the beach. While the trip didn't produce any kings, my son Spencer did hook into an amberjack. 30 minutes and several hundred yards of drag later, we successfully landed this 37-inch AJ. He says, I love this. He says, I've always heard of what a great fight these were, and they are, but don't seem to hear a lot of North Carolina folks targeting them. They're beautiful fish and are a great fight. Scott Fallen. Scott, you're exactly right. Until not too long ago, they were just cussed at and called a garbage fish. But I want to tell you something, folks. It is a great eating fish. And they say, oh, it's got worms. Well, don't eat that part. I don't know what else to tell you, but AJs are wonderful fish. Donkeys, reef donkeys, they're good eating. Brian Wolf says, love your show. Always try to watch. Thank you very much. I always try to do it. Surfside Beach Pier camera just showed large school of fish. Time was 12:15. Wonder what they were. And hello from Wilkes, North Carolina, Brian Wolf. Brian, I don't know. If next time you can screen capture, we can take a look. Who knows what the school of fish was that was floating your way. It is that time of year where it could be anything from mullet to menhaden to bluefish to you name it. It can, or drum, or sharks. Who knows? All right, Brian, thanks for writing on in. Corey Lawrence from Harker's Island says, hey, Bill, we enjoy catching your show each week, but not as much as catching these beauties. You better believe it. Taking my kids out and having them land a few fish is time well spent. You better believe it. Big trout and puppy drum. Chris Pravat, Team Roland doubled up on Kings, 11 miles out of Ocean Isle. My buddy took his skiff Team Delta out too and got the shot. Team Delta hooked up right behind me, and we tail grabbed all the kings to let them get bigger. Chris Pravat. Tail grab. Didn't gaff them, didn't do anything, just grabbed them by the tail, and that would mean you tend to be a little bit more experienced. If it's your first king mackerel, I wouldn't recommend doing that type of thing because, again, they're wet and wiggly and they got some muscles in them and it might be difficult. Mike Lane says, think it's a man of war I caught in a cast net, but not sure. All right. Mike Lane caught this jellyfish. And what do you think it is? You can see purple there. Just for reference, here's a picture in the water of a Portuguese man of war. Do you think this is the same thing? Email me. Let me know. Post up at YouTube. What's your opinion? What kind of jellyfish is that? So me and Mike Lane can find out. All right. Email me pictures of your big fish, your little fish, your strange fish, the I don't know what it is fish at billhitchcock@mail.com. billhitchcock@mail.com. Bait and tackle shop, send it on in. Pierce, send it on in. Guide, charter boat, well, send it on in. Experienced fisherman, fishing once in your life, send it on in. Pictures and video. And I do like descriptions. Give us some context about that catch. And again, take a picture of your lure. Take a picture of your soft plastic, of your mirror lure, of your bait. I love what Harold did when he got a big old honking piece of meat and hook. Here, Bill. Perfect. Let's see that type of thing because that type of information will probably do more. Well, it will do more for us, the viewers, than just watching somebody hold up a big old fish. All right. That's all the time I have for it. Looks like it's going to be a pretty snotty week this week, but we'll be back on Thursday with a brand new show. Until then, see you next time. See ya.